Mike Singer, blueandgold.com here with Rivals.com South Central recruiting analyst Sam Spiegelman, breaking down Notre Dame's recent running back commitment from the state of Texas, Jadarian Price from Denison. Sam, let's get right into it. Pop on the tape of the four-star running back, who I'm sure you've been able to see in person a few times. When you watch his film, see him in person, what's the scouting report, Sam?
Yeah, what's crazy is I saw him the day after Thanksgiving. It was a very long drive to get up to Denison, and he had a great day, but didn't even showcase all that he's capable of doing. So I'm glad that you have the huddle on. He's a track kid, 10.9 speed verified. That's an older track time, so I know he's gotten faster. You can see on tape, obviously, all the track speed is there. If he's in the open space, he is gone in a hurry. He's 5'11", 185-ish. He might be 6 foot at this point, but he's a long, lean running back, a little bit different build than your traditional running back. That's why he's an all-purpose back. I like his ability to not only run to the outside and obviously break away in space, but he's a really powerful runner. He doesn't get the greatest blocking for Denison. He's got one Division 1 or 2 lineman, I think, on his roster, but he kind of creates for himself. Even though he's an all-purpose back, he keeps the legs churning. You see them. He's got big, long legs, powerful legs. Over his career, averaging north of 6 yards a carry. I love his burst, and I think when he gets to Notre Dame and you have some of the best linemen in the country blocking for him, I think he's going to be one of those guys where you're like, well, maybe we underranked him in high school, because of his team, but he's a fantastic running back, versatile. He doesn't get used in the passing game as much as he should. He's got great hands, and he's just as dangerous after the catch. Very well-rounded running back, and I think, again, the sky is the limit for him once he gets to Notre Dame.
Very interesting stuff, Sam. So we had you on breaking down Logan Diggs after he revealed that he was sticking with Notre Dame over LSU. Couple of guys from your region. How would you kind of compare and contrast these two? I think the biggest thing that I see in my untrained eye is that Jadarian Price is more of a track guy. Logan Diggs is a little bit maybe more well-rounded.
You know what? Logan is just an athlete that plays the running back position. Obviously we spoke, could he play linebacker? Yeah, I think he can play I think he could play in the slot or receiver. Jadarian, he's similar in the fact that he's got some position versatility. You can be creative with him in the backfield, or you can put him in the slot. He's perfectly capable, as I referenced earlier. But yeah, Jadarian's got that breakaway speed that Logan doesn't have. And what's unique, like I said, is the amount of force that he runs with, the contact balance, the run through contact. He kind of glides. Logan is an athlete. I mean, the jump over the defender in the state playoff game is now a viral thing. But Logan, well-rounded, probably more of a traditional running back with his build, whereas Jadarian is that change of pace guy, but also offers that home run ability. And I'm excited because, you think about the history of Notre Dame, a guy like Golden Tate, who, comes from running back, plays receiver. I think Jadarian has that versatile skill set that the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame will have some fun with him.
Man, mentioning Golden Tate in this video, that's getting Notre Dame fans excited right there. Let's dive into his recruitment a little bit, Sam. Notre Dame offered in late January. He commits a part of the 2022 class for the Irish, February 26th. Actually, while I was on vacation, that's why we're doing this video now and not a few days ago. So what can you kind of tell us about how this came together? He did have some other big-time scholarship offers, Ohio State, I believe USC, some other big offers. What can you tell us about his recruitment, how it came together for the Irish?
Yeah, this is a big pickup for Notre Dame because they were not, one of those teams that have been recruiting him for the months leading up to it. Into the fall, we had heard that he was inching closer to a decision, and I think in November, December, I put a future cast in for Stanford. Before that, I think Oklahoma State was actually the team that was really starting to make some noise. But since then, before Jadarian committed, Oklahoma State added 2 4-star running backs to the fold and probably just didn't have room for Jadarian at that point. And Texas, again, was probably the favorite for a good portion of his recruitment. But obviously the new staff changes. He didn't get a reaffirmed offer. I don't know if they were having that dialogue, but he instantly took a liking to Notre Dame. I mean, if you think about Stanford and Notre Dame, there's a lot of parallels in what Jadarian was looking for. Academics is huge to him. I believe he's a 4.0 student or a 4.1 student, if I'm correct. And you can tell that when you speak to him. He's as book smart as it gets. Fantastic interview. I think he was anxious to visit Notre Dame. He's had a lot of bad luck. I mean, you got COVID prevented him from going to see a lot of these schools like Stanford, and then he had a gigantic Texas-sized snowstorm to keep him from visiting Notre Dame. So I think he's anxious to get out and see Notre Dame. I think that'll only shore up his commitment with time. But Jadarian is the type of kid that I think when he makes a decision, he's pretty firm in it. And I think Lance Taylor did a great job with him and the staff as a whole. And closing strong with Jadarian Price is a nice building block for the Irish in 2022. And they don't come down south too much. So this is a quality pickup.
Yeah, good stuff. And you mentioned him trying to get up to South Bend. That was just going to be the week before he committed. And yeah, it's not like he was going to be going to better weather in South Bend either. Before we get you out of here, Sam, let's talk about his ranking. Ranked right now as number 230 player in the country. Believe he fell about 20 spots. And people need to understand with the national rankings is that right now, if a few guys move up, like you see a kid, and you're like, all right, I want to move him up. Well, and then there's other guys like Jadarian, you're like, all right, we like where he's at, but someone like if people move up, literally someone has to drop. Like you can't have 100 guys ranked as the number 10 player in the country. Like it just doesn't work like that. So he fell a little bit in the national rankings, actually bumped up, I think, a spot or two in the all-purpose back rankings. So I think the positional rankings are more important than the national rankings because I don't know why people would get upset about an offensive guard being ranked above a running back. Like, don't get upset. But he moved up in the all-purpose back rankings and number 30 player in the state of Texas. So you mentioned earlier this could be a guy that, maybe you might kick yourself at in his playing days because he might have been ranked too low. Well, you still have many recruiting evaluations to do before the 2022 class is over. So with all that said, on the fringe of the Rivals 250 right now, he's in there right now. What would you say his ranking ceiling might be? I know he was out as a sophomore. He had an injury, played as a junior, scored 20 touchdowns. Maybe senior season could be a guy who busts into the Rivals 100.
I'm not sure if he's a 100 guy. If he does start coming up with track times again, I mean, like I said, that 10.9 is an old time, and it's obviously a stellar time for a running back. I think he's going to finish in the 250. He has done nothing, and like I said, he's better than the full roster that he has at Denison, and you have to take that into account for sure. I think for his skill set, to combine some of the traits that he has, he's a different type of all-purpose back. He's a traditional running back, but we just try to obviously give the recognition. The mover uppers in front of him, he didn't drop it. He was not a stock down guy by any means. He was basically a stay where he was appropriately ranked previously inside that 200 to 250 range. I certainly think he can move into that next tier, maybe 150 to 200, depending on not only what he does as a senior, of course. Like I said, he's so versatile. I think he could really make a dent, in the camp circuit and the 7-on-7 circuit. He's a well-rounded kid, and there's really nothing he can't do. And the speed is obviously going to catch all of our attention. But it's in terms of the position value, it's a big, obviously, rankings jam. It's like, an offensive guard, versus a running back versus a receiver. There's a lot of running backs and there's a lot of receivers each year. There's a lot of linemen each year. So I think that also equates into it. You want to get your quarterbacks in, you want to get your offensive tackles and your edge rushers and DBs. But I think he's talent-wise certainly fitting. Again, 3,200 yards for his career, 37 rushing touchdowns, 6 yards or greater a carry. I mean, I think he has a high floor. I think the ceiling we'll see, and I think we'll get a better glimpse of when he's fully healthy as a senior and what he does this offseason. But I think he has a really safe floor, and I think, you start picking landing spots. The Notre Dame intrigue is really interesting. I mean, I think also at Oklahoma State and Stanford, you go to an offense where they'll really display your talents effectively. And I think Notre Dame's a really great spot for him to do that.
Well, that's Sam Spiegelman, Rivals.com, South Central recruiting analyst, breaking down new Notre Dame running back commitment. Jadarian Price, before you guys get out of here, make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to our channel for more content, and we'll catch you guys next time.